Hello and welcome to another awesome episode of KKP's Untitled show, where we talk about video games yet still figure out what to call our show. Though technically we kinda did last week's show, but we're just gonna keep on trucking since we both like how this format is going. I am your host, Mr. Toffee, Jonathan Toyat, Kakuchopurei. Joining me is of course the awesome Louis Larcom. How you doing, buddy? Anything cool you want to talk about in terms of gaming, or maybe just life stuff generally?
Yeah, well, actually, if I seem a little bit low energy today, I apologize. I'm actually just recovering. I was kind of sick yesterday, still recovering from that. I came down with a bit of a flu and just had just headache throughout the day from having like sneezing fits. Which I don't know if anyone else deals with that, but it's like I sneeze just non-stop for like 5 minutes straight, and I just get whiplash from it, I guess, just from sneezing so much, and that just does my head in the entire day. But yeah, other than that, I'm trying to think what I've been doing.
I get that a lot too in terms of the sneezing bit. I mean, it's more like whenever I get like a flu, it actually would last about longer, maybe like close to a week or slightly longer, because when I'm not sick, I'm fine, but then when I get sick, it really hits hard on me.
Yeah.
Like, the kind of like when you min-max attack on an action RPG, but your defense and willpower is like the lowest. That's pretty much me. So I can just go out and be healthy and all that, but whenever I get sick, especially when I jog in the rain and then I get like a bit of a sniffle thing, it tends to last longer than it should.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think when I got COVID at one time a couple of years back, it was pretty took a while for me to recover, which is quite of a bother because I don't get to see people. Meet up with them. I had to actually stay home and do online stuff and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good for a job like ours where we don't actually have to leave our houses that much, but still, it is very annoying whenever you're forced into that situation.
Oh yeah.
When
I mean, I don't think anyone...
rain, you can stay home, but then when you're given not much rain, it feels it just cramps you, basically.
Yeah, definitely. It's like we always like to have that choice, like it's not like we're gonna, because of our job, we don't really leave the house by choice much, but when that choice is taken away from us, it feels like 10 times more shitty.
Yeah. I think what's also cool is there was that time where there was a whole Ramadan Bazaar thing going on. We just went out to the Pasar Bazaar thing because they close at 7 usually, right?
Yeah.
Pretty early, so we would actually just... we got some free time. I might as well just do my work later tonight because more of the news comes out. And we got a lot of news to talk about later, and then it's always good to actually just go out and do some shopping or do some Bazaar Ramadan shenanigans or Pasar Malam stuff. And which is a good thing too, because most of the good stuff comes out at night. Like the Grand Theft Auto 6 thing we covered, that was like what, 10 p.m, 11 p.m.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yesterday's Suikoden piece of news. Actually, there's two. That was like about 10 p.m. or so, and then along the same time, the Atlas talked about the English version of Persona 5, the Phantom X, which was actually a game that came out in China for mobile.
Right.
So now they're making the English version. We can talk briefly about that later. So before I interrupted you, what were you talking about in terms of like stuff you did?
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, I was finishing up on some Doom stuff. You can check out all like the videos that we published on our YouTube already, and then I started getting into one of my friends dragged me into playing R.E.P.O. I'm not sure if you've had the chance to play R.E.P.O.
I saw a bit of that. So it's a multiplayer game where you carry packages and avoid ghosts. Or am I
kind of, yeah. It's very reminiscent of Lethal Company, which blew up a couple of years back. It's just a very streamable game in terms of like streaming content and whatnot. But just even amongst friends, if you're not playing it for content, it's still very, very fun. It's up to 6 players. We had, I think, for the first time the other night, we had a full lobby, and that was fun. But essentially, what you do is you go to these abandoned places where there's ghosts or monsters and whatnot, and then you have to kind of collect valuables to reach a certain quota. Once you hit that quota, you can extract. It's a rinse and repeat. So it's like there's no real end to it. You just see what kind of level you can get to, and then if you lose, you start all the way from level 1 again. But you don't really get any benefits. But in between rounds, in between levels, you can go to the shop and like get stamina upgrades or health upgrades or strength upgrades or reach, and as well as like kind of weapons or stun grenades and whatnot to help you out with monsters. And yeah, it's all in all, it's really fun. It's obviously scary.
And it's
there's a
also
lot of
cheap
jump
too,
scares.
right? Because it's just multiplayer only. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the price is like less than 100 or 100 RM.
Oh yeah, it's about 30 ringgit.
Oh, wow,
I'm not
okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's just under 30 ringgit. Yeah, so yeah, it's really affordable. Really fun. I'm not somebody who enjoys playing like these types of like scary jump scare types of games, but when it's with friends, it's very reminiscent of like playing Call of Duty Zombies for me with friends. You know, you'll never catch me loading up by myself, but if friends are involved, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. A friend that slays together gets scared together. Or
Yeah,
I don't
right.
think- I
Yeah,
don't
at
think-
least you
I
don't
think
feel
that- yeah.
alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad you're having fun with that. Actually, I got a horror game I kind of want to share with you too. A 30-minute game. It came out, I believe, last month, April, if I recall.
Mhm.
It's called "This Is Not Your House." It is a.
Oh,
you see
yeah.
that?
This I know. I think I saw the trailer for it. This is.
It's a very
not
like
sure how-
monochrome. Well, not monochrome. It's more like a 2-3 color game, where it's like the
Mhm.
CGA, EGA style graphics back in the PC 80s days, you know. And it's an adventure game where you pick like your choices and you determine whether you get any of the 10 endings in the game per se, because there are 10
Yeah.
achievements. So basically, not to spoil the game, basically you did grocery shopping, you got back home in your car, got out,
Mhm.
and then it turns out that someone's in your house.
Oh,
And
okay.
claims that house is theirs, not yours. So you decide how the story goes from there, and it's pretty. For a 30-minute game, it's very impactful in delivering the horror, not the jump scare stuff. I mean, this is
Yeah.
more like when you read the text, you see the horror that comes out from the text, and
Right,
the graphics
right.
don't show more. It's more of the description of the text itself and the story itself.
Right.
And there's a bit of humor as well too, but I don't want to say anything more than that. It's the
Okay.
kind of good example where it's a show don't tell. I mean, it's more like use the text to tell things, and then you leave it up to your imagination sort of
Okay.
game. And then I think I like the fact that they use the monochrome 2-3 color chrome kind of graphics, 80s style graphics for visual novels and adventure games in
Yeah.
the PC era to actually amplify the horror. So it's
Right.
not like jump scares and whatnot. It's more like the dread, the creeping sense of dread about like, I guess, house home invasion and the things that come along with it per se. So
Yeah.
and it's only like what I think 5 RM is very cheap. So you
Yeah. Yeah.
want-
It's. I mean, it says it's 569.
yeah. And again, this is like, how do you say, if you want like a really short 30-minute good horror experience, yeah, just get this game. I will highly recommend it. Definitely.
Okay. The art style is very reminiscent of. I was watching a video essay on a different game the other day called Who's Lila, and it's very it's a similar art style in terms of like the pixelatedness. It's Who's Lila is a little bit more detailed, but it's kind of a visual novel, but it's kind of done different. Like you kind of have to control your facial expressions by like you have like a picture of your character on the left side, and like you have to kind of morph this like by like clicking on their face. You have to kind of morph their face into a certain emotion, and it has to be the kind of right emotion. It's a really interesting take on a game, which I haven't yet to see something quite like that.
Okay, that's a good
but-
example of monochrome.
Yeah.
The black and white. Something like the Return of the Obra Dinn kind of
Yeah.
adventure game. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess
But,
this is not your home house. Is the same kind of style per se.
Yeah.
Just different colors. Just the same
Yeah.
style.
Yeah, I mean, this is your house is, I would say, green and yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really effective stuff.
Yeah.
Also, another horror game I really want to play is probably Look Outside, which is an RPG with the Amiga style graphics, very horror centric, but more dread. I mean, there are some jumps. I mean, I wouldn't say jump scares, but whenever you got a person with his head turned back to you,
Yeah.
showing his back, and then when his head
Yeah.
turns around, when he gets closer to you, that's when
Yeah.
the horror creep show shit happens.
Right. Yeah.
that,
So you
that
don't,
kind
you
of
don't
like
quite know.
so you know something's coming, but then you don't know what it looks
Right.
like. So, and it's an RPG, so you kind of have to figure out how to defeat this monster or stay in this house for like longer than 30 days per se.
Right.
That's a game I really
okay.
want to check out. I got it.
Yeah.
I bought it already, but still haven't checked it out.
Yeah.
Because I was
Yeah, that one just came out what 2 months ago?
yeah, another few months ago. Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason why I didn't touch that game even though I bought it is because Doom, The Dark Ages came out today. I mean yesterday
Yeah.
for everyone to play on Game Pass. So Lewis, you obviously finished the game. I'm 5 chapters in right now. I've actually gone past the bit where you control the dragon, which we talked about.
Okay.
I think it's about the same speed as the other 2 games, as someone who's played the
Okay.
2016 game and Eternal. But
Okay.
Eternal has more tight levels and more
Right.
acrobatic stages compared to the Dark Ages, where you don't have a double jump in this game, as far as I know.
No.
Yeah.
No,
all
you
you gotta do, all you have is basically the shield charge, which is basically the Captain America, basically a charging star. And
Yeah.
you got the shield slash, where whenever you get the spike upgrade, the saw upgrade, you get to actually stick it into a medium size or a giant enemy, which is basically like a round trip from Devil May Cry. In fact, the shield charge is a stinger from Devil May Cry. So I believe it software actually took some elements from a character action game, put it in their shooter, and just said, you know what, we're just gonna have more open world, more like open arenas for you to fight in. Kind of reminiscent of Doom 2016, but with more emphasis on punching enemies with the 3-hit combo, the shield charge, and all that. Of course, it's fun and all, but then when I actually got the super shotgun, that's when I'm like, yeah, I think this might be something like a 9 or 100 to me because of the way it feels.
Yeah.
I think control and feel is paramount for a shooter, otherwise what's the point of playing the game in the first place? So when id Software gets it right the first time in 2016 and then they just tweak it, there's nowhere to go but up. I mean, you really have to fuck up really royally to screw up the controls for Doom the Dark Ages, and I guess the same team who actually worked on Doom and Doom Eternal just basically just tweaked that. And I see the online discourse saying that, oh, maybe I miss my... Okay, maybe I do miss the glory kills back in the Eternal and Doom 2016. That 100%. I do like the animations and all that. But doing things quick, and then you actually have like special gore kills for the boss enemies, the leaders, where you can actually get the power up to heal, to get to boost up your max HP or your max ammo count.
Yeah.
I guess that's just one way they're going about it. Like, instead of having you do glory kills every single time you meet up with an enemy, just save it for the big guys. And I guess that's why they want to save it that way.
Yeah, they do technically have the option for a glory kill. You realize that there's when you take down like medium-sized monsters, they will like kind of glow purple, and then you'll have to press the melee button to
I did
interact
that.
with
All
it.
I did was just a sucker punch and then they break in half.
Okay. Yeah. So the animation only activates under certain conditions. So for example, if you jumping towards them, or if you are in or mid-air, then a glory kill like animation will take place. But it's very hard to come by, especially the later you get into the game, where when you're just getting hoarded, it's like swarmed by hordes. You don't really care that much. You just want to get out alive.
And also another reason why they have glory kills or gore, man, I keep forgetting the term. The special kills in Doom and Doom Eternal is to slow down the action a little bit so that you can get the sense of your surrounding of the hordes before you figure out your game plan within that time.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Doom Dark Ages, except it's done with the shield bash, the shield charge, and the parry. Parry is very, very important.
Yeah, definitely.
So that it slows down everything around you so you know what's going on. So imagine if everything else sped up. It's going to be hard for you to keep track of what's going on.
Oh, yeah,
100%.
definitely,
So, having said that, I do wish the parry window was actually less and less to make it harder for me. Because when I put it to the lowest, it still feels very generous. I know.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, I know this is coming from someone who played a lot of Devil May Cry, who played Bayonetta, Sekiro, especially. And I recently came out of Expedition 33, a game where you have to parry to live or you die.
Yeah.
So going into Doom the Dark Ages, I guess it's Software's first time doing a parrying game, so I think the window is pretty generous even when you put it to the lowest possible setting.
Yeah, extremely, extremely generous. Even for someone like me who I don't really have any experience with any real games that have parrying in it. But even for me, I was like, there were segments where I was literally just turned off my entire brain and was just trying to get trying to kill the entire horde.
Yep.
And I was parrying pretty much just instinctively. Like that's how generous it is. Like you see it coming. I noticed with the dragon and the Atlan especially, the window is like even more so like generous.
Pretty
It's
generous, actually.
yeah, it's ridiculous actually. I do wish it was a little bit more unforgiving.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
Or maybe they could just make tougher enemies. Or maybe I guess that's one way to go about it. Or maybe in the future, when they have ideas to do a DLC or whatnot, just put in tougher enemies back and forth.
Yeah.
But for now, yeah, I definitely agree with the rating you give. I am cool with the game. I mean, I guess between the three, I will still put Doom Eternal on top because maybe I just like the whole structured levels and the puzzles and the good mix of jumping around, acrobatics and puzzles and being a Quake guy all around. But
Yeah.
Doom, I mean, it's definitely not a weak game, 100%. On its own merit, it's a really good game. It's just that between the three, I would still put Doom, The Dark Ages slightly low. I mean, I guess the third. So I guess between like top, it gets bronze, but it's a good bronze, you know?
Okay.
But maybe when I finish the game, I might change my opinion. But for now, I enjoy the variety, although it's more or less like a cool aspect rather than like a very meaty aspect. Because when I control the mecha and when I play the dragon, it's like, okay, it's like Panzer Dragoon. It's alright.
Yeah.
I like the pairing. I like the fact that when you dodge, you get to do the super cool beam to destroy the shields and all that.
Yeah.
And then the mecha itself, simplistic, but cool. I mean, it's great. I do feel the mech wayness of it all, but I kind of wish there was more to it. But again, maybe they're saving it. I mean, again, you do a lot of jumping around and shooting and shield bashing and shield charging and shield tossing and all that. So I think that's the bigger focus, whereas the mecha parts and the dragon parts are more like, hey, you've worked hard doing those levels when you're running around as Doom Guy. Just play these awesome levels that's kind of like fun, you know, like the bonus turret level, you know, in any other shooter back in the aughts.
Yeah, which by the way, I don't think they incorporated that enough. At least the turret. I feel like there should have been at least one more section for the entire game, but I think you have one more coming up, and that's it.
Okay.
Unfortunately. But yeah, no, I mean that's great to hear that I was roughly on the mark, at least with how I felt about the game, because at the end of the day this was my first Doom game, and I hadn't really played didn't really play Eternal and 2016, but it's a testament to someone who hasn't who's not familiar with the franchise, and at least as a beginner coming into this, I do solely recommend. I think I would you say from what you've played so far, you would recommend this as a good entry into the Doom franchise?
I would say, I mean, if you have time, all the time in the world to play games, start with Doom 2016, then Eternal, and then play Dark Ages.
Just play it chronologically.
Besides, Doom. I mean, probably the only bad thing about it is like kind of expensive, actually. Doom Dark Ages. And the only reason I'm playing it now is because it's on Game Pass, which would be affordable.
Yeah, which I think that is a big selling point. Like, if you have Game Pass, I would definitely recommend playing Doom.
Definitely,
it's one of those games that you get more than your money's worth for the Game Pass by playing that game.
If you're paying it just on its own, by itself on Steam or PlayStation 5, might be a bit of a hard sell, considering that, hey, maybe I want to get my Doom jollies, like proper Doom remix jollies, just play the 2016 game and Doom Eternal, which would be much cheaper.
Okay.
Again, I'm talking in aspects of someone who just gets games not early, but at the same time when everyone else is getting it. So again, we always talk with our viewers and vote with your wallet sort of deal and everything. Not to say that Doom Dark Ages is a bad game. It's just kind of like might be a hard sell if you're not in. If it's the first Doom game you're playing, by all means go ahead if you got money to burn. If you cannot, it's on Game Pass. Get it on Game Pass on the PC and Xbox. And I'm proud to say that the game did not crash on me at any time. No issues. I mean, all I did was basically just install it, got the update, and then I had to update my graphics card because I didn't do that for quite a while. And then it just worked just fine. So no issues right there. I mean, some people are maybe coming across issues on Steam, maybe. And of course, the other discourse is people are saying that because there's no glory kills and the speed is slightly lesser compared to Doom Eternal and Doom 2016. It's probably a bad comparison because you're basically comparing a Ferrari with a Lamborghini. They're both different kinds of fast, but There's still nice sports cars you want to drive regardless. So
Right.
I think this argument is moot and useless to bring up. You're just doing it because of the Twitter clicks and the enrichment and all that.
Yeah.
So bottom line, definitely a recommendation from us, but I would suggest just getting out Game Pass for now.
Yeah.
Because it is a pricey game, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
Especially when compared to the other parry game I was talking about, Claire Obscure. That's also, I would say, is worth the money, 50 US, 30 hours plus, a lot of parrying, and definitely more strict on its timing in terms.
Yeah.
So maybe if you want to actually learn how to parry great, you play games like Sekiro, and then you play games like Claire Obscure, and then Doom Dark Ages might come off as a bit too easy for you.
Yeah.
Apart from that, there are a bunch of games I can't talk about because they're all embargoed till next week. I guess I played a bit of Diablo 4. Decided to just play another character in between work here and there, but nothing to shout about. I guess I could say that the Berserker costumes you get to buy are very expensive. I think it's like beyond 100 USD. Like you're just paying for the game again.
Yeah.
It's absurd. I mean, Blizzard's just making their money doing the licensing, and then I guess the other thing is it's gonna be like, it's also class locked. So if you don't play Rogue, you're not gonna get Guts mercenary armor. If you don't play Berserker, you're not gonna get the Dark Berserker armor. If you're not the Barbarian, you're not gonna get the Dark Berserker armor.
Right.
And so forth and so forth. So I kind of wish Blizzard had the foresight to make all the armors available for all the 6 classes rather than lock it. Because Overwatch, I can understand because they're like 20, 30 plus characters.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bit hard to make costumes for every single person for a seasonal thing, especially when you gotta churn it out within 3 months or so.
Yeah, and like they're constantly releasing like new ones like every 3 months or so.
For Diablo 4, there are like 6 classes. I think they could just wait, and every season is like what, 3 months or so. I think they could get around, making 6 unique costumes anyway, or at the worst case 5, and then the Spiritborn might get bonus shit like later on in the future season or whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just me for my side. We can definitely go into news right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so quite a bit dropped a couple of days ago. We're just gonna go through it. So I guess the big one on my side is EVO Japan 2025 happened. A lot of people won here and there, but I'm not here to talk about that. You can check that on the website. And there are other esports sites you can check out too. What's really important is the source code for Guilty Gear Strive, like the game that you can buy right now, and it's a tournament right now. That source code has leaked during the weekend of EVO Japan 2025, which means A, people know what's coming ahead, what's coming up, which is Season 4. We know that Unica, the Guilty Gear anime character, is coming out, but there are actually some animations of her, like out there in the wild, like her super move and the way she moves and everything, and her intro and outro. And then you've got Lucy from Cyberpunk Edge Runner. She's a fighting game character in Season 4.
Okay.
You got her model out there, and then you've got her face whenever she gets the special Faust attack, Bone Crushing Excitement, where he has the wheelchair and it hits you in the shin, and then the characters make the funny face. We get to see Lucy's face when she gets hit.
Okay.
I'm not gonna show that, and then you can still show her moves and all that. I'm just describing it right now because if you actually show that footage, it's kind of illegal. You're not supposed to be doing that. And the other thing is, if the source code out, anybody who has the background in programming, they actually get to make their own Guilty Gear Strive.
Okay. Oh, based on the source code. Okay.
But obviously you can't do that.
Yeah.
It is highly illegal. I would not suggest you doing that because Arc System Works has patents for these kind of things anyway.
Right.
But at the very least, a lot of people are looking at the code to actually maybe learn what makes the game tick. They can make their own mods in private, of course, in secret. Again, this is not something you want to brag about. All I know is probably someone from Arc System Works is getting fired because of this oversight. Whoever leaked it, if they can trace who actually got the source code and everything, they're in an amount of legal trouble. That's for sure. A lot of legal trouble, because this is a game that's still going on right now. This isn't a game that's 10 years old, mind you. This is a game that's still big, still being sold, still being contested in tournaments like EVO Japan 2025.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really sucks for Arc System Works. I hope they can actually recuperate from this.
Hopefully, yeah.
And that's it. Yeah, I mean, it's just sad that this oversight just happens. Maybe there's some
Yeah.
insiders in the company. Again, probably they're kicked out by this point in time. And yeah, people just be careful how you handle your code line and everything. What else we got on news? I think that's the only big fighting game thing that we have right now.
Yeah.
Just the source code thing.
Well, I mean, at least fighting game. Well, yeah, fighting game from the developer side. I think we got some news from the Malaysian FGC scene, no?
Oh yeah. What about that? Yeah.
Yeah, what's it? I mean, from what's it? Flash Vision, who are a renowned tournament organizer in Southeast Asia, have announced their upcoming fighting game tournament series. Was it? FV Major 2025.
Yep, 2025.
Yeah, 2025. It's going to be featuring Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, KOF 15, and the recently released Fatal Fury City of the Wolves.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did you manage to go for the last day last year, right?
I went for the previous year and the year before that.
Okay.
So
yeah,
if
because
you-
I remember I went for last year's one.
Yeah. And if you notice, there actually is only one like international circuit in this tournament, which is the Tekken World Tour.
Yeah.
So there are 4 games like you mentioned, and there's only one circuit, which is for Tekken 8,
Yep.
TWT. Last year they had like TWT, they had the Dragon Ball Fighters World Tour, and they had the SNK World Tour, and they had
Right.
the Arc System Works Tour, Art World Tour. That's like I
Right.
think about 4, and now it's down to 1 for this
Yeah.
year. So a lot of people have said that the quality of last year's tournament is, I would say, to be real diplomatic, a mixed bag. There was actually some tournament players who are very, very displeased with how they had to wait so long for their brackets and everything.
Yeah.
And then
yeah,
the way
I
that
remember.
it's in the mall where it's very noisy, it's a lot of queues. I mean, a lot of people in the way, the setups and everything. It's not a spacious area per se. It was pretty cramped,
No.
in a sense.
Yeah.
Again, running a tournament is hard. Don't get me wrong. So again, it's tough. But at the end of the day, you are still being judged for handling so many international circuits. And if they decide not to join you for the next year because of certain issues, I do not blame the tournament circuit people, because they gotta think about their own bottom line. So at the very least, they have one for this year.
Yeah.
Even though it's gonna be the last tournament that FV Major is gonna do. So
Okay,
the last one.
I wasn't aware of that news.
they say it's gonna be like a legacy thing. So it's like once they're done with this one, they make it the biggest they have, and then they're done. So there's probably gonna
Okay.
be a vacuum to be filled next year or the year after. So we can always
Dang.
speculate what's gonna happen, but the tournament hasn't happened yet. Maybe something we can bring up along the lines in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
But in any case, yeah, less international circuits. Tournaments happening, 4 games. I mean, better to have less games and then just keep it a very tight event, especially
Yeah.
when you want to have less wait times for all the fightings and all the circuits and the
Yeah.
pools and whatnot. And compared to last year's, I believe they had an early bird for Malaysian fighters, but it only happened within 2 days on February before they announced the July dates.
Yeah.
To compare last year and the year prior, the early bird buying spree happened about a month, about 30 days or less than that. But it was definitely
Okay.
more than 2 days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So it was more or less like a quick, hey, I want to get some money to get things going for our Malaysian fighting game club or whatnot. But again, this is all speculation, alleged. I don't know what the reasoning is, but it happened. It was on the Facebook post. It came and went. And then now everybody has to pay the international price, which I believe is 126 RM.
Okay.
Yeah, for 4 games. I mean, this is kind of on par because they're following US pricing.
Yeah,
It's the same everywhere for Combo Breaker. Okay, maybe Evo is probably bigger, but then again, they can charge higher because
Yeah.
it's Las Vegas. It's a more expensive venue than a fucking
Yeah.
shopping mall, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to see what unfolds in the tournaments because it's always good to have a big one of these happening, to gather up and see what guests are coming. And we're gonna see a lot more Tekken players coming internationally because of seeding points. So we'll see how it goes from there. Probably probably a bit more complaints from international players if things happen like last year or the year prior.
Yeah, or if they finally pick up their shit and they actually listened from last year.
Yeah, a lot of people said that the one in 2024 was worse than 2023. If that's
that's what I heard
possible.
as well. Because I had a bunch of friends that were competing in the tournaments, and they were unfortunately not the happiest. Which is, I know it's frustrating for them because they take a lot of pride in being able to, because they're all Tekken players as well. So they take a lot of pride in being able to host at least one tournament that's a part of the World Tour, right?
Exactly.
When your country doesn't quite live up to the standard that you already hold in your mind for them, or the kind of the expectation you want to help convey about our country, and they don't live up to that standard, it leaves a bad taste in our mouth, right?
Yeah, it does make us look bad. But whenever we do good, we will always champion the good that happens.
Definitely, yeah.
We have to be fair to ourselves. Again, we are not shitting on Malaysia because they have a shitty fighting game tournament. We're shitting on the quality of the fighting game tournament regardless of the country you're in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But if it's a good fighting game tournament, yes, we'll talk about it and we'll champion it per se. So organizers can make all the look. Like I said earlier on, it's not easy to make this kind of things happen to a tournament. It's a lot of planning and all that. But when you've been doing this for like maybe 3, 4, 5 years, if it's your livelihood and you seem to be fucking up more and more with each passing iteration, maybe you're not listening to the right people, or maybe you don't have the right people, talent, or whatnot to get into in your organization.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just have a lot of yes men working with you to actually talk more than they speak. Just saying, allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's the people you keep together to make it work, per se. Like, if it's a good tournament, we are going to talk about it. But with the good, also the bad happens. And we also got to talk about it. Don't kill the messenger, as they say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we should get to some happier side of things. You saw a trailer recently. I mean, literally a few minutes before we started this podcast. It's a new anime game from I guess a Chinese Chinese company called Elementa. It's the publishers Elementa, and the developers are Silver Company or Silver Project.
Silver Studio.
Silver Studios. You want to talk a bit about that game?
Well, yeah. I mean, I unfortunately didn't see the trailer until just before this, but it looks phenomenal. So let me kind of describe it from somebody who literally just watched the trailer, right? So what it looks like to me is obviously a Hoyoverse clone of sorts, but it's I feel like calling it a clone doesn't quite do it justice. I feel like it disrespects the amount of detail in this game.
Hold on before you start. The game is called Silver Palace, and
Silver Palace, so it takes a steampunk vibe, which I already love. I love Victorian steampunk esque kind of like BioShock Infinite kind of vibes. It's just something that it's always just tickled that spot when it comes to themes for me. But obviously, we can assume that it's an open world, right?
Yeah, they said in the press release and on the website it's open world.
Okay, and it's an open world adventure RPG, action RPG. It's run on Unreal Engine 5 as well, and it just looks phenomenal. It's like people, they wanted to make something that's like Genshin, but they wanted to go all in on the aesthetics and the graphics and the details, because the character designs are phenomenal. The environmental designs as well look incredible. In the way that they managed to incorporate the anime-esque kind of art style that you expect from Hoyoverse games and clones like that. It seems so seamless as well. Nothing looks really out of place. With the animations as well look phenomenal. In the trailer you get to see somebody turning into a wolf, and that just looks cool.
Yeah,
cool
you gotta
as fuck,
fight it in like a third-person combat kind of deal.
Yeah,
where the moves feel very weighty compared to something like Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves, Wuwa. And it looks weighty. Like imagine a Dark Souls or an action RPG kind of game, a character action game with a bit of weight, where you fight monsters and. Main character, the detective, is actually pulling out her gun and has a sword to fight, and then she can tag in other characters like a white knight lady with a giant sword, and a character with I believe it's an axe, like that kind of like a makeshift axe you find in Bloodborne, but a bit more.
Yeah.
And she's a doctor too, if I recall. That was the footage of that tag team gameplay against the werewolves.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks phenomenal. It also sounds like as though they're going slightly like there is a slight inspiration of from Sherlock in terms of like how they're trying to formulate the characters. Like you have a detective who's like kind of trying to search, like trying to obviously discover a mystery about some, from what I understand, a black substance, that they know what it is, but they refuse to accept what it is because it's so peculiar and like hard to come by. Obviously, this is just me coming off just going by the trailer.
Oh, I can add in the fact that yes, you are actually on the mark there because the detective is actually looking for clues about who murdered X, Y, Z, and whatnot. So she actually there's actually 11-minute gameplay footage out there from the official site, Silver Project, or is it Silver Palace, the game, where basically you have to sneak around Metal Gear Solid style, Splinter Cell style. You grab a dude, you gotta interrogate and coerce the person, and then you take this as a syringe to actually drug the guy so he goes to sleep or tell you the truth.
Oh.
Yeah. So you got this interrogation thing going like Sherlock, but a bit more malicious per se. And you still have to fight werewolves, of course. You detect people if they're like aggressive. That's a monster right there. You're going to fight thieves and whatnot while you're doing your investigative work. Yeah. And then when you get to place, you can ride on a horse, a magic robot. I guess it's a magic horse. You get to, which also flies too. Yeah. And you get to get around the open world, the Victorian setting, mind you. And you get to ride around, do sharp turns, fly up as well, do cool stuff here and there. And then and then the 11-minute gameplay was actually punctuated by a boss fight called Cinderella, where it's actually a woman riding in a carriage, and the carriage is on fire. And it has a flamethrower built in, coming out from the side. So you get too close, it just blows fire at you. So you got to find a way to stun it from afar and then go up close for the kill. And then when she is out of the carriage, she enters another form. And she basically has this a special move where she puts you down on the floor and just basically steps on you with a heel. And you basically have to press there's a QTE prompt where you basically have to get out of the stomp, otherwise you just get more damage from the heels. So you just gotta get out of it, and then you continue the boss fight, different patterns and everything. But it just showcases where this game is going. So it's gonna be an action RPG style title. You fight the supernatural and do detective work, a la Sherlock Holmes. Oh, and you also got a male counterpart, so it's not just a female. So if you want to play as a male, you get to be a male too. You got a bunch of other characters here and there. And there are parts where you actually get to go to a bar to interrogate different characters. And I guess in the one instance in the gameplay, you get to interview this dancer who is basically showing off a lot of her cleavage, I'll tell you that. And basically there's like a drunk meter at the bottom right. So if you drink more and it kind of overflows, I believe the interview is a failed interview, I guess. So you gotta drink. Basically, you try to get as many answers as you can before the meter goes full. So basically, you know, like how you go out for a date or whatnot at a bar, or talk to people at the bar. You try your best to drink a lot while also maintaining your semblance of sanity and stability to stay as sober as you can to get the most answers. The same mechanic is here in this game. So it'll be cool to see how they actually incorporate all these like detective work back and forth. So again, the fight is great, but I want to see how the adventure portion is. I mean,
for me, like just from like looking like a couple clips of the gameplay, the lighting looks phenomenal as well. I just can't get over the aesthetics of the game, because it just to me this is like it just looks so damn good. It looks so damn good, and it's coming pretty much out of left field. Like I'm personally not aware of anything that Silver Studio has ever done. So like it's incredible.
I think it's a first time thing from the studio. Didn't really do much research behind the group, but it's like I believe they could have come up from like different companies and just formed their own new Chinese company. Like I literally got this trailer like around 11 p.m. or so, and then I was messaging you and Ken like about, hey, check this game out, this looks fucking sick, yo. And even some people I know, they really like the design for the detective. Like Victorian, but it's got a bit of that flair and riz to make her
Yeah.
stand out. To keep it anime aesthetic style, but also in the serious goth Victorian kind of
Yeah.
style too.
Yeah, I did see a couple clips as well from it where I'm not gonna lie, it really looks like that third person MOBA Deadlock, because Deadlock is also
Deadlock.
thematically a Victor kind of like that's kind of like a more grungier Victorian steampunk era. But it's literally because the main character, you see the main character kind of grab onto a hook and it kind of zips her across the city. You literally do that in Deadlock as well to get from base to the lane that you're supposed to be at.
Yeah,
So
when I saw the lady use the hook, it's like, oh shit, they're bringing back something from Bioshock Infinite, you know, the rail grinding system. So
yeah.
I think I have one request from Silver Palace, like maybe if you're gonna traverse a lot on your hook system and your hook and rail system, maybe make a race out of it, or maybe make a mini game, you know, where you race,
Yeah.
collect coins, or do combat on rails or whatnot as a set piece for
Yeah.
one of the bosses. That would be really fucking cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, but yeah, just do a little bit of research. These guys, Silver Studios, they're a subsidiary company of Happy Elements, which is they've got studios all across like China and Japan, in Kyoto, Tokyo, Beijing, and Shanghai. They've worked on a previous game called Monpic. I'm not too familiar with that, but that's essentially it's a 2D adventure game, basically. But Silver Studio is a brand new subsidiary, and this is supposedly their first title out from it. So yeah, looks for a first title from a what we can assume. Well, yeah, these guys are headquartered in China as well. So yeah, it's a first title game that looks phenomenal from a Chinese studio. It's not the first time we've heard of that, but it seems apparent that it's becoming more and more common, where there's just so much talent coming out of China, and they're just like, they're like, hey, let's just show them what we got. And for it to be a first game title as well is incredible.
There's also another game that's coming out from China. I believe it might be this year, Ananta. It is a modern day style anime game where imagine Grand Theft Auto but more colorful, less pessimistic about the world, and you have Spider-Man style grappling moves where you shoot out a magic web. I'll say it's probably not called a web, it's probably a grapple hook, and you get to swing around the city. That's also another open world game where you can drive a car and swing around Spider-Man style.
Yeah.
So that's also another game to watch out for. But for now, I guess I'm gonna assume Silver Palace is coming out next year. This looks too good to come out this year, honestly. And I wouldn't worry about it coming out before or after Grand Theft Auto 6, because this is a Victorian game. It's not fucking Grand Theft Auto, dude. This is a completely different style kind of game.
To me, this is the type of game that you'll probably whip up like when you're getting a bit too tired of like playing GTA 6. Like you wanna like after you've played it for like 12 hours, you just want to go chill out on the sofa, whip it out on your phone, and just just play it.
I want to play detective with my anime waifus. I'm sick of this Latino hot girl ass. I'm gonna look at anime girl ass. So that Ananta, this is gonna be a pretty good couple of years for open-ended, open world, free-to-play gaming. So
pretty much.
Maybe a couple more news before I wrap it up. I'm gonna tackle some local stuff, or rather some Asian stuff. So this company, Digital Happiness, they made a game series called Dreadout, where it's about a schoolgirl, Linda, who has to use a phone to detect ghost spirits and deal with them or run away from them. Kind of like a modern day Fatal Frame, but it's set in Indonesia. So there's a third game coming out. They had the trailer like this week. It's actually a partnership between Digital Happiness and publisher SoftSource from Singapore. They are going to be releasing Dreadout 3 on 2026. In the developer's own words, they're releasing it after GTA 6 comes out. It's better safe than sorry, right? So the trailer I saw for this game is the same protagonist, Linda, now with a I guess a black shirt and t-shirt and jeans. Basically making a summoning circle and trying to get ghosts out of a place. And then she's still using a handphone to detect spirits and whatnot. And I saw a bunch of like screenshots here and there showing off like Linda I'm guessing she is she has her own place, I guess. She's like, because she's aged throughout, like from high school to maybe
Yeah, she looks
some other
significantly older now.
yeah,
Yeah.
older now. And yeah, one of the shots is actually in a forest where her jeans are pretty tight. So I think the developers are going for a different look for Linda this time around. So
Yeah, more mature, more a little bit, yeah, more mature, refined, but also like kind of, yeah, like just she knows what she's doing now.
and
type of,
and
like-
why there's a third-person camera for these kind of games. We now know
Yeah.
why, yes. But anyway, the past two games have been really good for survival horror fans. So the third game might probably do the same thing for next year. So
Yeah.
in the meantime, enjoy the screenshots, there's trailers out. It's probably gonna
Yeah.
be like the game where you can champion this alongside Agni, Village of Calamity.
Mm,
That's also another one. But that game is better. But Agni's coming out this year, from what
yeah,
I've heard. So hopefully it doesn't come to a situation where they both end up fighting for a spot in the same year.
yeah.
you know,
Hopefully
those
not,
games
no,
get delayed.
because they both look amazing as well.
They look good. They look good.
Yeah.
So apart from that, other local news. Yes, the Stardew Valley Festival Seasons concert is stopping by Malaysia on the 6th of September. Tickets are available right now. It's going to be performed at the ZEP KL, which I think is at Bukit Bintang, correct?
Yeah, it's just next to Lalaport, connected to Lalaport there. Yeah.
Do you have any memories of? I mean, are you a big Stardew Valley kind of guy?
Not really. Stardew Valley is one of those games I never got around to playing. I don't know that I have anything against it. Like, I know it's so widely beloved by so many people. I do know that it was correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was created by one guy, right?
Yeah, it was one guy. Yes.
Yeah.
He's actually
Okay,
in the midst of making another game right now, but he's obviously not
Okay,
ready
yeah,
with that.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
The Chocolate Factory game he's making. But,
Yeah.
But for now, Stardew Valley is his baby, and then great to actually see a concert out of it because really nice video game concerts are a dime a dozen. I mean, I've been to a couple, MagFest especially.
Yeah.
And I've seen video games live. I've seen the Distant Worlds, Final Fantasy, the ones where it's just Final Fantasy and then Final Fantasy 7 focus
Yeah.
and whatnot. Those are really good because they know what they're doing and what they're showing. There was one about PlayStation Music that didn't do too well. I mean, at least from what I've heard, because they didn't get enough sales for tickets. So some shows had to be cancelled for that. They
Oh.
announced it last year, and then maybe there was lack of demand or lack of marketing. But I do feel those kind of concerts, they don't really work unless you have a specific theme. If you just focus on The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, and all the newer games you did, and maybe add in a retro game or two, maybe it's
Yeah.
not. I think there needs to be a hook of sorts. Video Games Live was actually had that hook of being the first. Distant Worlds is because of the prestige of a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
And Stardew Valley is just focused on one game with a really good soundtrack, so it works.
Yeah.
Magfest is because people are just bands playing video game covers and they use rock,
Yeah.
jazz, orchestra, what have you. And of course, the tickets are cheap for US standards, not us standards. It's like
Yeah.
you're paying 126 USD for like a 4-day concert. That's quite a deal when you think about it.
Yeah.
So again, know your market per se. So otherwise, a PlayStation console's not gonna work. Whereas something like Stardew Valley will still work because that game has universal appeal. It may not be our game, but it is still something that a lot of people, our girlfriends or our significant others, have played a lot. And
Yeah.
I'm happy that they're getting this kind of representation, especially for like this is kind of a concert that probably might be making their money in the US. To actually have them tap into like other countries, because it's also happening in Singapore, in the Philippines, and in Thailand,
Indonesia.
I believe, Indonesia as well. So I'm
Yeah,
glad
yeah.
they're actually hitting those other countries too, our brethren in Southeast Asia. So
Yeah.
not just Malaysia. So it's good that they're spreading the love. So
Yeah, it's great. It's good to see that. Yeah, it's touching down in places like the Philippines and Malaysia, because like video game concerts, from what I'm aware of, it's very hard to come by. Like you'd have to go to like Singapore, or you go, you just have to go overseas as a Malaysian to experience these types of things. So, if you're an avid Stardew Valley player and you love the soundtrack, then yeah, definitely go check this out.
yeah. I think the one I kind of want to go next time is anything Persona related, the GRPG.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah. And I guess our last piece of news is the announcement of the English version of Persona 5, the Phantom X. Now, this game has been out for quite a while in China, last year or the year prior as a beta. So it's a mobile game. It's a JRPG. If you played Persona 5, where you got like your daily routines, your JRPG turn-based combat in the mementos and in the dungeons, which is in someone's head, you know, like the mind palace and everything. It's the same ordeal, except for mobile. So a couple of days ago, they announced the release date for the English version, which is the 26th of June, which is next month. So it's coming out in English with Japanese dialogue and English subtitles for iOS and Android next month.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure if this is the Asian English version, because they might have another SKU for that.
Right.
But for now, this is probably the only way I can play it in English for next month.
Okay.
And, you know, Persona games always have like a really nice story being built into it, so it's great to know what the hell you're doing when you're playing a free-to-play gacha game.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts about the JRPG? Or
I mean, Persona's always been a franchise that I've always been interested in, but I've never had the chance to officially get into it properly. Like, I know how renownedly beloved the soundtrack is for it all as well, and I think that's probably one aspect that I'm definitely looking forward to. I think I'm just surprised that a kind of on the go, a mobile version of Persona hasn't really touched the English market yet, because of how beloved it is. You know, it does, I think it's safe to say it has a cult following in terms of just like, or a cult like fan base, just because of how diehard the fans are, and just given it looks right. Like, when you think of, at least for me, when I think of Persona, and I think of like not only the graphics but also the gameplay of like the turn-based battles and whatnot, it seems like it would be perfect for mobile. At least a mobile version. Because we have games like Honkai Star Rail, which are pretty much, you can kind of like auto battle, and you can yes, it's turn-based, but yes, you can pay attention to it if you want to conduct the fights and whatnot. You can, but if you want to be able to, just leave it on the side, you can just click the autoplay and let it do its thing. And I don't understand, at least to me, at least, it's a missed opportunity that Atlas hasn't done something like that yet. It seems like it's going to be, it's probably going to be a hit, because they do well, and it obviously had to reach a certain level of success for it to be a China exclusive release, and then for them to now release it in English. It had to have done relatively well, right? So I think it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes from here, or what opportunities or doors it opens for Persona on the go, really.
I think I would say it's gonna be a huge money maker, because Sega kind of already tapped that in terms of there was a game they released on mobile, because Atlas is under Sega, don't forget.
Yeah.
They released Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage, and that's probably the game that's making bank for them in Japan. I'm not sure about the US version, but I'm gonna assume it's doing pretty okay, if the Japanese version is doing great. So the fact that they're gonna hopefully have another even if this game were to bomb, which I don't think it will, but maybe it might make medium amounts of money compared to maybe Honkai Star Rails or your Genshin Impacts. It will still make a decent amount. But this isn't gonna sink Atlas's or Sega's ship, because Sega knows Atlas is better at doing console games. So maybe this could be like a mobile experiment they gotta do. If it's successful, we might see other JRPGs from Atlas coming onto mobile. Who knows?
Hopefully.
But as it stands, it's not the end of the world if this game doesn't do as well as expected, because Sega still has Hatsune Miku and all their other ports of other games. I think Chain Chronicle is still going on as we speak right now. That's a long ass Sega game, a long established IP per se.
Okay.
I think that's about it.
Yeah. Okay.
You got any other piece of news you want to bring up?
I think we could just, finish off with Kojima.
Yes.
So news came out with that Kojima has a I can never pronounce this word. Posthumous. I always keep on thinking it's posthumous, and I feel so bad because, like, given the context, it doesn't sound right for you to say that, someone's died, nothing's humorous about it, right? So, but yeah, posthumous game plan. So essentially, he has a USB full of ideas for after that. Pretty much, Kojima Productions has free reign to use after he passes away. Which is, am I surprised? Not really. He's just one of those creatives that really just does everything. So the fact that he has a game plan for when after he's gone from this realm, doesn't surprise me at all. I think what's more surprising is that he's done this while juggling games like Death Stranding 2 that's on its way. What's it? OD, which is the cryptic Xbox game, and then Physant that he's doing for PlayStation as well. So despite all of this, he has a bunch of other, ideas that he wants to do. I think he's considering branching out, or at least he's giving the options to create movie adaptations of some of his games as well. He's pretty much giving permission, but to only certain people, like Guillermo del Toro and Nicholas Winding I can never pronounce this guy's name. Nicholas Winding Refn.
Let me check. Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah.
Winding Refn, Danish film director.
Yeah. But yeah. It's just it's. Am I surprised? Not really. It's just the fact that it's on a USB stick is just like, it's very fitting character-wise of Kojima. He doesn't want it anywhere online. Don't want it. He doesn't want anyone who could possibly access or hack the cloud.
Yeah.
Just have it on a USB stick that could get destroyed or could become obsolete, and just leave it probably in a safer vault. When the unfortunate day arrives and he passes away, open that shit up and see what you can do with it.
Yeah, first off, I'm glad you didn't mispronounce it as post-hummus, because that would be like
Yeah.
weird when you think about it, like post-hummus on a sandwich. I prefer lentil bread, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Second of all, again, this is I will actually give credit to Kojima for planning ahead. Definitely. It's really, really cool that he has something as a backup per se, like in case something were to happen. And also another thing I gotta add, around that time, I believe he also said that he saw internal reviews for Death Stranding 2. He actually enjoyed the reviews that were all done internally. Like most companies, when they're really big, they would get like proxy reviews done from proxy writers, and then just to see what the outcome will be before they put the game out in public or give it to media like us. He said that he kind of wished it was a bit more controversial.
Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty much it lah. Which I would say that his first game's already controversial enough as it is, because we gave it a 40 out of 100.
Right.
Back in the day. And I warmed up to it. I was actually another writer who didn't like it so much. But again, I guess over time we actually saw like, okay, it's not bad. It's alright. Especially when it's in the better frame rate. And there's the enhanced edition of PS5 where you actually get a bit more combat to go along with it.
Okay.
So maybe it might be better. The second game might be better, but maybe because he listened and then he decided to make the second game kind of like what people want a Kojima game to be.
Yeah, possibly. I also think as well, I feel like a lot of people are coming in with the expectation now as well, because of how controversial the first game and a lot of his games have been, right? But I think people had perhaps this is just me speculating, but like people had a certain expectation of how weird or critical it was going to be, but kind of maybe Kojima not necessarily played it safe. He probably did it within the realms of what he wanted to do, but it was just it didn't quite live up to everyone's expectation of what we expect from Kojima, and to be honest, like that's fine. That comes with people coming to love his works, right?
I think at this point in time, or maybe like during Kojima's past works, especially Metal Gear Solid 5, the demo that came with it, I had to pay money for. I try not to believe other people's words unless I played it for myself.
Right.
Because your interest, your taste might vary. And then when I played Death Stranding for myself, it's not the best game. I mean, it's interesting. I like how it goes, but then it just doesn't feel like it's... Again, I didn't like it at first because of how it controls and everything, and the fact that some things are just a bit too damn easy halfway through and just felt off. But as I played it again, especially on the PC version, then maybe I just appreciate it a bit more. Maybe have an open mindset. So results may vary lah, in other words.
Yeah,
and that's what I like about Kojima in that sense, where it might be terrible, but it's not boring. I mean, the worst thing you could do is have a boring game. And Kojima's games, while clearly batshit insane at times, it's not dull, I can tell you. Yeah.
Alright, cool. Well, I mean, do you have anything in plans for next week?
Next week, I can finally talk about the games that are embargoed. I'll be in Kuching for a bit, but I think by that time I'm already done with my work by then.
Yeah. Speaking of you going to Kuching, and I feel completely fine talking about this on podcast as well, but you have to. I definitely want you to go check out my uncle's cafe. My uncle's a content creator, and he has a cat cafe, which is it helps shelter and support stray cats in Kuching. It's on Carpenter Street. It's awesome. I know you're a big cat guy as well, so like I thought you'd love it. But yeah, I'll send you the details later in text.
Alright, cool. Thanks again, man. And that's Lewis, and I'm Jonathan Toya. Thanks for watching the show. Do subscribe to us, usual, our website, Kakuchopurei.com, YouTube page. We post new content every week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.